Nice of you to drop in.
Hello people, I'm the Comic Book Gamer. Today I'm going to be counting down 5 DC comics that I believe deserve to be an animated movie. I did this for Marvel and a lot of people wanted me to do it for DC, so I decided, okay, I'll do it for DC as well. This list is in no particular order, and there are some books I left out, such as Killing Joke, because I believe Killing Joke will definitely get its own animated movie in due time. So, like, some obvious books I left out, but yeah, these are 5 books I really think deserve their own animated movie. Number 5 is Judas Contract, which is a new Teen Titans storyline, and it's so good. Like, this is probably the most famous Teen Titans storyline, and there's a reason for it. It's so good. What's so great about this book is the fact that it's filled with so much character for both the heroes and the villains. Like, you just get so much in depth with the characters. That's what was so great about the new Teen Titans. And in this book, it just shows Deathstroke, who has recruited Tara, this like young girl with powers, and he's recruited her to go and infiltrate the Teen Titans and be his sleeper agent. Well, be his Judas. And so she goes in there, becomes all buddy with him. They like all believe her and trust her, and like even show her their secret identities and everything. And then she betrays him. But it turns out she is super crazy, which Deathstroke sort of knew, but he didn't account for 100%. And yeah, because she like just goes completely nuts at the end, and she is in love with Deathstroke. And throughout the book we see that Deathstroke sort of kind of like just feeds into it, because if he were just like, no, we're just supposed to do this for business, then she would leave, because he needs her right now to help him get all the Teen Titans riled up for the Hive, because this book is a continuation of the first time we ever saw Deathstroke, which was with his son Grant Wilson. When his son Grant Wilson took a contract for the Hive, well, he died, and so Slade Wilson took up his contract to honor his son, and that was to either bring in the Titans alive or kill them and bring them in dead. So Deathstroke decides to keep him in, to bring him in alive, and that's because, comics can't have him killing off the entire Teen Titans, so he successfully does that with the help of Tara, and then everything sort of falls apart at the end, and Tara just goes crazy. It's just really good. It's a great book, and it almost got its own animated movie, but that got canceled, sadly. So hopefully we'll get it. I think once this whole phase of like New 52 DC movies is over, we'll get back to the classics, because I think DC will learn, hey, this isn't working, we need to go back to the the best of, like they were doing before. And I really hope they go back to that, and I think they will in like the next 5 years or so. Number 4 is Batman the Black Mirror, which is my favorite Batman storyline of all time. And it doesn't even have Bruce Wayne as Batman, it's Dick Grayson, and it's really good. It goes in depth about James Gordon Jr. It goes into his origin and everything. We find out like why he's so screwed up, because throughout the whole book you don't know to trust James Gordon Jr. or not, and it's just Scott Snyder did such a great job with like the mystery of this book, like what's going on. It's a really like thriller style Batman book, and I love it, because it's not just like Batman's gonna run in and just punch a bunch of people. It's very intense, and especially the end that involves like James Gordon Jr. attacking Barbara Gordon, and will Batman get there in time? When he does, can he stop him? And it's really good, and it's a great book, and the art is amazing too. Like, it adds to the intensity of the book, and it would just make such an awesome animated movie. Like, James Gordon Jr., there's some stuff he did in his past that was just messed up, and then there's even more stuff that he does in the present that's really messed up. And I just love Dick Grayson as Batman. He's such a cool Batman, and I just love Dick Grayson, and seeing him as Batman trying to solve this murder is amazing, because it's a little different to see him in Batman's world than in his own worlds, where he's used to everything. And this, it's James Gordon Jr. He's not used to going against James Gordon Jr., and he doesn't even know he's going against James Gordon Jr. really till like the very end. And there's a lot of Commissioner Gordon as well in it. It's just a really good book, and it's so good. It's my favorite Batman book, and I highly recommend you check it out, and it definitely deserves its own animated movie. Number 3 is Jonah Hex No Way Back. Now, I always thought that Jonah Hex would make an awesome animated movie, and DC even proved my point with the Superman and Captain Marvel vs. Black Adam movie, which was just a bunch of shorts, and one of those shorts was a Jonah Hex short, and it was so good. I loved it. It was only like 10 minutes long, and it was amazing. It captured all Jonah Hex. They even has Thomas Jane do the voice, the same guy who played Punisher, because he loved Jonah Hex, and that was awesome. The short was perfect. I just wanted a movie of it, and Jonah Hex No Way Back would, to me, make the perfect Jonah Hex movie, because Jonah Hex, like, this book is about Jonah Hex going around and finding more about his family and his origin, because he found out his mom's wanted, his mother that he hasn't seen ever since he was a little boy, and she left him with his dad, who just constantly beat him and everything. And so he goes and he finds her, finds out she's on the verge of dying, and he asks her why she's wanted and everything, and he finds out some stuff. He finds out that he has a half-brother who's a preacher in another town, and he goes over there, and it turns out El Papagayo, who is one of the longest-running Jonah Hex villains, is going after like that town, because that's the guy who's really going after his mother, and now he's going after his brother-in-law and Jonah Hex. And so they all hold up in this town, and it's a town that's like run by his brother who's the preacher, so it's a really peaceful town, like no guns and all that stuff. And then El Papagayo shows up, and it's just like hectic. Everywhere people are just dying, and Jonah Hex like the only person who can stop him. And then he has this epic final battle with El Papagayo, and it's awesome, and he kills El Papagayo, and that was big because El Papagayo had survived for a while. Like, there were previous Jonah Hex books where I was surprised that he made it through, but this time Jonah Hex killed him, and it was an epic battle, and there's just so many cool shootouts. And it's just Jonah Hex through and through. It's so good. I love Jonah Hex. And throughout, we also learn more about his origin. It's really good. And just an animated movie about it would be so awesome. Number 2 is Superman Ending Battle. Now, this book is just a straight-up test of Superman's strength. Like, just Superman enemies left and right being thrown at him. And Superman's trying to figure out what's going on. Everyone's attacking him. They even attack his family. Like, there's this really cool shot where this guy goes after Jonathan Kent and Martha Kent. Jonathan Kent takes a shotgun and just shoots him in the face, and it's awesome. He takes him down like that. And Superman is just constantly being bombarded throughout this book. It's really action-heavy, and it's really good. And, like, there's just so many cool fights. Like, there's this one part where Superman takes on Mongol, the jailkeeper, Bizarro. It's so good. And you see, like, the strategy part of Superman. It's not just punchy. You actually see him strategize. Like, early on in the book, he punches Neutron into space because Neutron is living energy, so he doesn't need to breathe. And later on, when he's fighting Mongol, Silver Banshee, and Bizarro and the jailkeeper, and there's kryptonite everywhere, he doesn't stand a chance. He uses one last blast of heat vision to knock Neutron out of space and back down to Earth, and then just blows everyone up. Well, you know, it's a deserted island, and it's so cool. I love seeing that Superman had a contingency plan. That was so cool. And then we see later on that it's Manchester Black who's behind all this, who's been sending all these supervillains after Superman. And during the book, we see that someone's like beating on Lois Lane, like someone had captured her, and Superman at the end goes, and it looks like he kills Manchester Black, but turns out that was all an illusion. He knew not to kill Manchester Black because, like, Lois was still alive, even though he made Superman, like, see Lois die, but, like, Superman knew Lois really didn't die, so he didn't kill Manchester Black. It's just a really cool book, and the fight was amazing. Although, my only problem with this being an animated movie is DC generally does terrible with Superman animated movies. All-Star Superman was good. Besides that, nothing. The rest of them, they're not good. Like, Superman Unbound was terrible. Even though the book it's based on, Superman Brainiac, was really good, the movie was terrible. I hated the movie. Just, generally, DC is not good at handling Superman in animation. But if they just followed the book, it would be perfect. Please just follow the book, and this movie would be amazing. Number 1 is Deathstroke City of Assassins, which is one of my favorite Deathstroke storylines, and it's so cool. What happens is Deathstroke goes to Gotham, talks to these, like, mobsters who are like, hey, do this for us, and Deathstroke says, no, it doesn't feel right, I don't want to do it. And so they're like, hey, we're going to kill you because you said no. Deathstroke kills them. It didn't work out so well for them. And then Deathstroke's like, you know what, I'll do it anyways, but, you know, not for the money, for himself. So he goes, and he runs into Batman, because Batman is not really in with Deathstroke killing people and everything. They have the best Deathstroke vs. Batman fight ever. It's one of my favorite fights in all of comic books. It's so good. Like, it's just amazing, and I loved it. It's my favorite Deathstroke fight, and, like, everything about the fight is awesome. The dialogue, the panels, everything is just perfect, and seeing that on screen animated would be amazing, and it would, like, be a redemption for all the crap us Deathstroke fans have gotten with the crappy media versions of Deathstroke. The fight would be amazing, and then the rest of the storyline is really good too. There's a lot of different reveals, and it's so cool. Well, not really too many reveals, but there's a lot of cool stuff, and yeah, it's just Deathstroke through and through, just like I was saying with Jonah Hex. This is like a pure 90s Deathstroke book, and it's so good. I love it, and it would be so awesome to see, especially that fight between Deathstroke and Batman, because that is the highlight of the book. The rest of the book's good too, but that part is so awesome. And again, it's one of my favorite fights in all of comics, and just seeing it animated would be amazing. But yeah, those are my 5 DC comics that I'd love to see be animated movies. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't seen my 5 Marvel comics that should be animated movies, you can click right here to see that. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like.